Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name's Josh. Thanks for joining me today. I'm still a little bit sick, and that's why this video is late. I'm doing it the day of, which I usually never do. But today we're talking about Matt and Abby. They went on a podcast with Eamon and Beck, a couple of Canadian child exploiters that I have on my docket to snark on pretty soon, hopefully. We'll see. I don't know. A lot of stories behind them, a lot of like whatever, but I'm going to take a look more into their channel. But they interview Matt and Abby. Matt and Abby get on here and talk about they might want to quit or something, or complaining about their absolutely amazing life. It's going to be a gong show. So let's talk about it. I made a hot chocolate in my vintage Toronto Blue Jays mug, and I put a scoop of coffee in it. It's not bad. I went and bought Swiss Miss. We don't have Swiss Miss here in Canada. It's really good hot chocolate, I'm not gonna lie. But first, coffee and hot chocolate. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, this video, Eamon and Beck are, I haven't talked about them yet, but they are Canadian influencers. I don't think I've ever spoken about a Canadian influencer couple that exploits children, but they're definitely on the list now. They're a bunch of yogurt and granola weirdos, probably live in, I don't know where they live, I don't care. Canadian yogurt and granola weirdos are weird granola weirdos, okay? Canadians are just, if you're a Canadian like person that doesn't shave your armpits, you're weird, okay? They probably live in the woods somewhere. They're just weird, okay? Canadians can be weird, but we're mostly nice. So Eamon and Beck, you're definitely on my shit list, so we'll get to you soon. But I'm sure we're going to talk about it here in this podcast. It is so long, so I got to get open the hour and 37 minutes. Damn. So it's called Reroute with Eamon and Beck. Even their names are yogurt granola, okay? I already don't like them, and I've never even heard of them yet. Okay, so I got their little thing up here. I want to get their... So the intro, what 14-year-old Matt and Abby would think about them now, changes they've seen in one another, defining success, waiting until marriage counseling, working together as a couple, sharing our life and kids online. So there's a couple things we want to look at, but I've got them here, so let's open it up.
You start.
I feel like we're living the dream. We love spending every single minute together.
I want to be a mom like so bad. I remember just like hoping our birth control didn't work. Dang, it's working. It can be so blurry.
That's what our content ended up turning into. You do it over and over and over and over and over again. You're kind of like ready for a change, and you don't know how big of a...
Matt, stop wearing hats. Okay? Sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't. I have to show you guys something. I'm starting to cut my own hair just to save a few bucks because I'm cheap. I don't know. And I bought this really nice haircutting kit that's really nice. So I try to do my own fade. And last time it worked. This time I went a little too short and I didn't realize what I did. Kathy, I get up in the morning, Kathy's like, what did you do? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, give me your phone. Look at my hair. So I ended up just taking it right down, which is fine. It was so bad. I'm just going to pay to get my haircut, I think, from now on.
Mind F it is until it happens to you.
Basically, everyone in the States has seen that TikTok.
I don't want things to go viral. Like the scale feels like shocking.
Well, you chose this life and you guys make millions of dollars. Would you trade that off, guys, for millions of dollars? Like if you every parenting mistake, everything that goes out there, because we all make mistakes as parents. We all do. But is it worth it to make millions of dollars and have to be shamed online for your mistakes that everybody's going to make? That's the trade-off. And I think everybody would say, yeah, I would totally do that. Who wouldn't? Like, let's be honest. Like, I wouldn't exploit my children for cash. Okay? And that's because I have such very stringent, and this is before I even realized it was bad. Okay? So, would you though? Would you put everything out there on the internet for millions of dollars? You'd be hard-pressed to find a person who would answer that honestly and say, no, I wouldn't. You'd already be rich. But if you weren't wealthy and you had the opportunity to be wealthy, would you do it? Like by doing it this way? Everybody would say yes.
That's the main emotion I feel with like all the online hate is fear. I'm not gonna sit here and take another punch.
Matt is this rock star now, you know?
He's definitely not a rock star, dude. Like, let's be real. Matt is not a rock star. Look at his hat.
You've got this husband hanging with Post Malone.
I would be in the front row just like, woo!
No, you wouldn't.
No way.
But yeah, let's talk about sex.
I love...
Yeah. No.
Love.
She looks like her breast stinks.
My wife.
I love tits.
It's awesome. Me too.
Did he just say he loves tits? Is that what he just said?
Yeah. I think we should go one this afternoon, bro.
Neck tats, let's do it, yeah.
Let's go.
We Canadian. Look at his socks. We don't claim this dude.
On today's episode, we're sitting down with fellow creators Matt and Abby.
Matt and Abby are high school sweethearts and met when they were only 14 years old. Together, they've been creating
What is the shirt?
content on YouTube and TikTok over the last 5 years and have grown a following of over 12 million people.
Wow.
Let that sink in for a second. That's crazy.
What's this noise I'm hearing in the background?
You might know them from many of their viral moments where they talk about their relationship, family, and
So they went to Matt and Abby's house to do this podcast, and then they went back to their podcast studio. They all have the same damn wood slats. Every single one of them does.
life in general.
We caught up with them when we were in Phoenix, and we were lucky enough to be featured on their podcast, The Unplanned Podcast.
So make sure you go ahead and watch that after watching today's episode.
Their story could not be more different.
And they're sitting here in front of like this. Is like an MLM or something?
Different than ours, which made for a very interesting conversation. We dove into topics like waiting till marriage to have
We also
which
talk
we didn't do.
we also talk about navigating negativity
She looks like Lucy from Snoopy or Peanuts. That's what she looks like. She pulls the football away. No one likes Lucy.
online and their decision to try out marriage counseling. We hope you guys enjoy getting to the root of Matt and Abby with us.
But
Oh, I get it. Reroute. But before we get started, here's our advertisement for this shitty shit. No. All right.
To the episode.
back to Matt and Abby.
Welcome back to Reroute. We're your hosts, Eamon and Beck, and today we are joined
Amen. Is it biblical?
by two lovely humans, Matt and Abby.
They're not lovely. They were canceled for leaving their children alone on a cruise ship. That doesn't make anybody lovely. That makes you assholes. And platforming assholes is probably a bad thing.
Last night we had the privilege of going to their home and meeting their children, and Abby was showing me this saying or motto she's teaching Griffin, which is Howards are generous and kind and helpful. And knowing you guys for only
Are you?
24 hours.
The Howards are all these things, plus we don't watch our children. We went on 10 trips in the past 4 months, and we never get out, though. We just never get out.
Great motto, because you are so generous, you are so kind and so helpful. We
How
are
do you know? You don't know them.
at your studio. We've completely transformed it, and you just like welcomed us with open arms. So thank you, guys.
So I guess they run a company called Habit or something. And so they're putting up their little, what is that? Like coffee made of like tree roots and shit? Oh, Canadian. I'm telling you, man, Canadian hippies are some of the worst.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I feel like you're just like people that like inspire and just make me want to be happier and get more out of life. So it's been so nice.
Shit. I hate when influencers blow smoke up each other's ass. Like they just stick their lips onto the colon and suck. Stop doing this. Okay, you don't even know each other. So stop it.
Getting to meet you just within the past like less than 24 hours.
Yeah, you guys are so positive. It makes me want to move to Toronto. I'm like, we need to be around.
Oh, they're in Toronto. That makes it worse. Toronto. Although the Blue Jays are from Toronto, so go Blue Jays. Toronto.
Like, we have so many good friends
You're
and family
infectious.
here, but I'm like, man, like, you guys, like, what's in Toronto? What's this,
Sell
like,
the house you
positive-
just bought and come to Toronto.
God,
What's this positive vibe?
Yeah.
Thank
It's the
you
water.
guys.
it's definitely not the water.
Toronto water.
It's a tea.
Yeah, it's
Cheers
definitely
to that.
Oh, it is tea. I knew it. It's made of like homeless person's piss and weed excrement.
Cheers.
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 Just.
So,
Tea's gross.
hey.
Hey.
I promise Canadians don't laugh like this, okay? I don't know where she got that from, but it's not from us. We don't claim that. It's not us.
See, I'm kidding.
I wanted to start with, I heard this story of an old man, and he was married for 50 years. And someone said to him, and he'd only been with his wife in his life, and someone said to him, like, oh, isn't it sad that your whole life...
Yo. Eamon and Beck are Canadian family influencers, and I'm going to roast the shit out of them. And she laughs like this. What's up?
you only had one partner. And the man said, what do you mean I only had one partner? My wife changed and evolved so many times.
Dumb. Still one partner.
And I think it's so beautiful as we've been in a 13-year relationship and you guys meeting at 14, dating at 17, and married by like 20 and 21. I'd love to go back to you guys at that.
I don't care about that. Let's go to 735. 735 is when they talk about changes they've seen in each other. This is what I want to know. Teeth.
Version of Matt and Abby were like this, you know? What's some changes you've seen in each other over the last couple of years?
Definitely becoming parents was a huge one. I feel like it's so cool. You like stating that quote to start the podcast about the old man recognizing that he's seen all these different versions of his wife. Like, it truly is that way. Like, I am a completely different person than I was when Abby...
I don't give a shit. This is going to be a stupid answer, too. Defining success. Let's go 935. Here we go.
So I like mentally, I'm like, wait, no, so much. There's been so much growth since then, and it's really cool.
There's not been growth. You guys are getting worse. Everybody sees you. At first, people probably liked you. Now, like, their descent into hell has been faster than a lot of people. Any influencer that grows on a platform, they always get people that say, I used to like them, but then they said this one thing I don't like, and then I don't like them anymore. Their descent has been, like, astronomically fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, you guys have built such a beautiful life, and you know it's so inspiring to see it, your career path.
Shut up.
As you start on TikTok and then crush YouTube, and now this
Is his real name Beck? I don't believe it is. It's probably like Charlie or something.
podcasting. How do you define success?
Oh, that's a big one.
Money. Lots of shitty money.
And, it was funny just chatting with you guys yesterday.
Here's the thing. Rich people are going to be like, here's how I define success. Waking up in the morning whenever I want, get to pump gas, look into the atmosphere, going grocery shopping at check prices. He's there. When you already have the money, you're going to define success differently. When you ask somebody who doesn't have any money how you define success, it's going to be like me not worrying about my bills, about whether or not I get groceries or pay hydro this month, whether or not I can pay my car payment or my rent. That's success for a lot of people. They're going to be like, well, it's going to be like, I can buy your Habit tea and not break the bank.
So inspired, especially by Beck's like positive outlook on life.
Wait, is she Beck and he's Eamon? Sorry.
With everything you guys have been through.
So her name's not Beck. It's probably Rebecca.
And I was going through my head last night of like just things I'm thankful for. And
that's not the question, butt crack. How do you define success?
Of like,
is this a Kamala answer here? Let's go. I grew up in a middle class home. Just answer the question.
Positive things that make my life good. And pretty much every single one of them went right back to family. Like it was all about,
shut up. Just tell them what success means to you. Look, it means I can give generational wealth to my children. Just be honest. Because success looks to me like, success on earth means that I can put my kids through college. Okay, that they will want for nothing. When they turn 16, I'll be able to buy them a car or they can earn it somehow. Right? I'll help them get there. And not an expensive one, just a cheapo beater. Right? Success to me means a lot of things like make sure my kids have a nice roof over their head, a great yard to play in, and a skating rink in the winter that might work. Okay, success to me means a lot of great things. Now, you're talking about, and that's only monetary success. Now, he's talking about as far as your career is concerned. Successfully other ways means I have a family that wants to come see me when they're out of the house. Right? That my kids will want to be around me when they're older. That I can have a solid relationship through the teen years with my kids as well as through the adult years. Right? Success to me means that I can help my kids whenever they need it at any time and that they know to come to me first if shit hits the fan. That's success to me. No matter how much trouble they think they're in, they can come to me first. That's success. Okay? Now he's just spouting shit he thinks people want to hear, but they always talk about how real and raw they are, but they never give you a straight answer and they never tell you the answer that's really the truth. Success is me making a shit ton of money so I don't have to worry about it. And there's nothing wrong with that answer. There is something wrong with how you get it though.
How much I love my wife, how much I love my kids. And
if Matt was honest, be like, success for me would be to like be a successful musician, touring and being famous that way. That's what he wants. And if he was honest, and he's not being, he would say that. But he's never going to achieve that. Matt, you're just not good enough, dude. You're not good enough. Take that from a touring artist for 10 years. Okay? It took me a long time to realize I was just nowhere near good enough. We were fun and we had a great time and we were good live and stuff, but it just took me a long time to realize it's just not going anywhere. This sucks to hear that. And I know he doesn't want to hear that, but it's just the way it is.
Thinking about all that, I'm like, man, that really puts into perspective, like, really nothing else matters. other than the relationships
Again, rich people have different answers.
that are most important to you in your life? Like
Those shoes are super dirty.
if something isn't serving those relationships, like what's the point, right?
So I feel like
That's not the answer to the question.
that's a pretty evolved response for someone who's 26. You know, like
No, it's a shitty response that he thinks you want to hear.
do you think there's still like things you want to accomplish? Because we've talked about this before of like, for me, I think you're right, but I think if you have that burning desire to get the car, get the house, get the watch, you almost need to like get those things to realize that.
Yeah.
To realize that's not success.
Do you feel like there's still like material things that you're trying to accomplish, or even just like things on your resume? I know music's a big part of your life now.
Shouldn't be.
Definitely. Yeah, like I've learned so much by doing music this past year. I started putting out songs for the first time, and I literally knew nothing about the music industry, how things worked, how songs were written. But I think like what I've realized at this point is, yeah, I definitely have ambitions for business and career goals and creativity goals, because I mean, Abby and I both grew up doing theater, so we love to create.
Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go to Wait Until Marriage, 1710. Let's go.
Can we go back to birth control not working and talk about sex a little bit?
Let's talk about sex.
Today's episode is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Whip up tasty restaurant-style meals in your own kitchen with
If you have to read off, like I would never. If someone gives me a sponsorship, I'm not gonna be like, just memorize your lines and give a little effort, little bit of effort. F off, jerks. You probably made $10,000 on that too.
Shay, buddy.
I have to tell you, I learned like, a lot more. I mean, there was Catholicism, there was tradition and structure, and I think for me, I understand everyone, but you're like so curious, genuinely curious.
He's an atheist, I bet. Looks like one.
About
like I'm just mind blown, right? Yeah,
I'm mind blown that anybody would believe in God, because how dumb are you? That's what he wants to say.
Waiting to marriage thing, or even like once you're that young and then you actually finally go and have sex, was it as exciting as you thought it would be? Like there's a lot of pressure on that moment. It was?
Yes.
She's lying to you, by the way.
I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm not answering this question because the first time doesn't feel good.
I think it was awesome. Yeah, it was great.
Great experience. Like I feel like I think there's a lot of, I know there's so many like cringe, embarrassing stories when people wait. Like it can be really awkward. And let's be honest, it was awkward, but I feel like there's anytime like you're experiencing that vulnerability with somebody else, there's gonna be awkward, like
They're out of their depth.
there are sweet moments that are also just like laughable, and that definitely happened on our wedding.
Holy, they talk about this for 12 minutes, 13 minutes almost.
You love when I tell this story. Have we ever shared this on the podcast before?
I think you've shared it on the podcast, but you can share it again.
It's okay?
Yeah.
So we were not perfect. Like we definitely like
We did more than just kiss before we got
we were
married.
familiar with each other before.
But we had never.
So they did the blowies and stuff, which is just as bad. You might as well have sex. Seriously. You might as well.
Like actually had sex until the wedding night.
So Matt was like, and it was
Did they soak?
Like just to dive into that, like basically everything but.
Yeah, kind of. Okay. Yeah.
So you didn't wait then. You didn't wait at all. Okay.
I mean, it's.
But it wasn't
very,
like it was not. It was a thing that was like. Oh.
You didn't. Don't tell people you waited for sex and then had blowjobs and did other things. They didn't wait then. You just waited for penetration. Is that all you're gonna say? Because I know that's awkward to say that, but if that's all you did, is that all you waited for? You did not wait. You didn't wait. I did not have sex with that woman. You did. Basically, you did. I don't want to. I'm just saying. If you did other things with your tongue and your mouth, you did.
Like we were trying to not do that, so it wasn't like as like
These damn bastard liars.
it wasn't as enjoyable.
And it's tricky because like we grew up where purity culture was preached very strictly, and so you feel like all this guilt and stuff. It's tricky, but I think I've been like my eyes have been opened. Like a lot of people that follow a similar path that I've talked to now as adults, I've been shocked to hear from them like, oh yeah, we were in the same boat.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, we actually did have sex, we just never told anybody.
Yeah.
And that's like blowing my mind because it's like pretty
So did you guys? You still did everything but his sex, just so you're aware.
much everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Everyone
it's like this big secret that everybody keeps.
Yeah.
So that's
But I
been
want everyone to
It's none of anybody's business, really. Is what Christians should say. Look, Do what you're going to do. Here's what the Bible says about it. If you don't want to listen to that part of the Bible, so be it. Okay. It's a commandment from God to wait, but that's okay. I mean, everybody sins, right? But for some reason, that's held into the highest regard of sin. But sin, like, just so you guys are aware, if you're not aware, and maybe Eamon and Beck, you're probably listening to this, if you're wondering, sin is sin is sin is sin. Man, I can go steal from my mother's purse, or I can go run a train on a bunch of ladies. That's sin. Sin is equal. Nothing is worse than others, but Christians have made it so that that's worse than others. It's not. There are different consequences on earth for what you do, right? If you steal, you can go to jail. If you have sex, you can get someone pregnant. There are different consequences, right? Or you can, whatever. I'm just saying, there's different consequences there, but sin is sin, no matter what. If you did it in your head, you did it in your heart, it's the same as doing it in the flesh. And so that's what Christians always fail to believe and always fail to understand it. If you've done it in your head, you've done it. And I'm not saying that's justification to just go do everything. I'm just saying stop being so damn hypocritical about it.
That like, oh, we were these like perfect moral like
we only held hands until we got married.
It wasn't like that.
Like,
It wasn't like
Some
that at all.
people do, though. Some people do, and they're mocked relentlessly for doing that.
But the night of Matt, he took off my bra. He goes, oh wait, can you scoot over a tit? Can you scoot over a bit?
Why is that funny?
I remember cracking up.
Scoot over a tit? I mean, can you move it over a bit?
I think he was so like nervous and like shocked that he like didn't laugh. I was like,
So let me get this straight. You did everything but, and so he's nervous about seeing your boobs? That doesn't make sense.
we're gonna laugh about this
Sounds like he's seen your boobs before.
for a long time, but I was
It's
like,
not funny.
I'm gonna keep it in.
Oh, you didn't laugh at the time?
No, I think I was just like, then I could tell that he was like still kind
Because it wasn't funny at the time either. It's not funny now either.
of serious. But no,
But you guys, like, it's funny looking back because about 1 year after we got married is when our TikTok took off, and there was this viral trend at the time where like a wife would just like undress and like have the phone on her husband's face, see his reaction.
Oh, yeah.
And like the video blew up because my reaction was just like I just thought Abby looked awesome, and I look back at that and I'm like, like we'd only been married a year. Like I'd only been seeing her without her clothes on for a year. So
That's not true, because they just said they did everything but. So what are you saying? You didn't see her naked? Come on, buddy.
of course he's gonna have that
no,
reaction.
it was so genuine. And I still have a similar reaction. Like
I had that reaction today.
Why are they lying about weird stuff like that? Why are they lying? They're still ashamed of it. They're like, we shouldn't be ashamed of it. But they're still basically ashamed of it.
It's just the best, dude.
Yeah.
I love my wife.
I love tits.
It's awesome. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. It's just
So Matt needed the permission to say, me too. He's always been wanting to say that. I love tits.
like, isn't it just the best thing? You walk in and like your wife has no clothes on. You're like,
it's
this
amazing.
is like life is good.
Yeah.
Life is freaking great.
100%.
No, but like we actually didn't have like it wasn't like awkward, and like there's definitely like we just learned each other better and everything, but it wasn't. We had a great experience. Like it wasn't like a weird. What about you? Why are
Okay,
you
they go on.
laughing?
I don't know. I love sex. It's great.
I feel like the difference maybe in your story and someone else's is it seems very genuine from the
It doesn't.
beginning, like this connection, this love. You weren't maybe getting married to have maybe you were
They were.
getting married younger to,
For sure.
explore this.
No, for sure.
Some people I imagine
Sorry, but
that.
And they're admitting it out loud. Yeah, we got married young so we could have sex. But they did everything but. Just, please don't get married to have sex. Because it's not the answer. That's why the Christian divorce rate is higher than the secular divorce rate, by the way, if you didn't know. Because young Christians get married young so that they can do the things without guilt. And it's silly because divorce is a sin, you guys. So, like, either it's based on a sin or you're going to end up being in sin no matter what. It's sin! So, like, people just don't see the choices are made. Like, a church should be telling people, like, look, don't be, like, sex is beautiful and amazing, and that's what church doesn't do either. It's like, don't talk about it at all, unless it's in a negative context, right? But they also say, like, are you getting married early? You clearly are not an adult. Your brain isn't fully formed. You're getting married based on, like, this carnal thing that you need to do, but then in the end, it ends badly in divorce because you just don't, it's not compatible, blah, blah, blah. That's sin too. You can't get away from it. That's the thing. Christians are so silly sometimes.
Pause on that. Is that like what drives you to get married?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely it's a part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That is a silly reason to get married, everybody. Very silly.
So isn't it crazy to think like how lucky you got? Because,
Yeah.
A,
Yeah.
you just want to get some,
That's saying that they're going to last in marriage and they're not.
and it's like, okay, I got this blonde here, she'll work,
Sure.
you know?
But okay, you have to understand though, like the core relationship for long distance was built on FaceTime.
Yeah.
We would FaceTime for hours every single day. Maybe like call us crazy. I know that's weird. We're like the clingy couple, whatever. But we would just
I told you that they're the people in the youth group that when they get together, they lost all their friends because they didn't care about anybody else but themselves. They were like, I had a group in my youth group like that. I'm not gonna say who they are. They'll probably watch me, but like they were like, as soon as they got together, they weren't allowed to get together anyway because her dad was like, but they secretly held hands in church and stuff, and we all knew it. But as soon as they got together and became a couple, they didn't hang out with anybody ever again and lost all their friendships because that's all they cared about. There are people like that exist and they're in Christians. A lot of them are Christians and they're really, really clingy and weird.
talk, and our relationship was built off of friendship.
It wasn't like I was
That's
like,
huge.
oh,
Okay, I don't care. Let's go working together. No, staring at our life and kids online. Oh, there, 3749. I like that one. Let's talk about that because this is where they talk about it a little bit. It's important.
Cool.
It's amazing. That was the big thing I wanted to talk about is like navigating when you share your life as the content, which is what we've done. It can be so blurry. Like,
Yeah.
okay, is this content? Is this my life? When does the camera shut off? So maybe just talking about the boundaries. You guys talk about putting the camera on, and then the element of your kids coming into it. Because I've really respected how you've navigated all of that.
Well, if you've respected it, you haven't done anything about it because Eamon and Beck, they exploit their children fully online.
I think it's so much lower production than people think. Like, it's not like we have a big camera and lights and like someone filming us. And so I think that's what's made it like,
No one thinks that. Your shit's shit.
it's really not that invasive. It can,
But it also
It is invasive. If you're showing your family to millions of people online, I don't care how you film it, it's invasive. So she's equating having better equipment to being more invasive. What? Well, she thinks there's like a crew of directors and camera guys following them around. No one thinks that. What a stupid comment. Are you filming intimate moments with your kids in your life and putting it on the internet? Then that's invasive. What a stupid comment.
is why it's so blurry. At least in my
Exactly.
experience.
Exactly.
It is just us at our home. And like, why wouldn't I get that nighttime shot? Because I already know as the producer, oh, like you at 9 p.m. would help the story move.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
as a human
Hey, you producer. As a child exploiter is what you're meant to say.
being, the small camera still signifies to me work. Or it's still
Yeah.
just like, hey, like when do I have my moment of just like for me? It's like an
Yeah.
internal battle, right?
for sure. And so that's kind of like what I was getting to, like where it's like, it feels so casual, but then you're like, okay, wait, that's why it can be hard to discern, like this should go for the masses and this should stay. And I think that, and also with the amount of content, it gets just like hard to, and I think we have probably, we're like, oh, maybe that wasn't something to share online. And
What, like leaving your kids in the damn cabin at the cruise? Maybe you should have shared that with everybody as a mom hack, eh? Maybe that?
like, even though that was real in that moment, like that maybe isn't for the public. And so I think we definitely messed up.
The hard thing is,
You
I think
think?
that's ultimately
Understatement
why
of the year. We definitely messed up.
we all had so much success is because of that authenticity and like waking up and you know the camera's right there. It really helps people feel connected to you.
Yeah.
And you know when we started vlogging, we would just shoot all these epic things, swimming with dolphins and you know skydiving, all this stuff, and no one really cared. And it wasn't until we were living in our van brushing our teeth, and people were like, "Oh, that's so funny the way Beck brushed her teeth."
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like,
And then you capitalized on it and did a bunch of teeth brushing videos because why did that go viral? Then you did it again. And then your kids got hurt. And you're like, holy shit, this video went crazy viral. Let's film our kids getting hurt more. Right now you got, what is it, Bingham's, whatever. Their kid breaks an arm and they do a 10-part series about their kid breaking an arm or a leg or a kid getting sick. Like, these are the things that go viral. The parents realize that it's their kids going to the dentist that goes viral and then they do more of it. Because money matters more than anything. How can I recreate the virality of that video? And unfortunately, it's generally the ones with the children.
that's what people connect with.
Just being a human being.
Yeah.
As the human being on the other side of the camera, it's important to like have boundaries or just
Yeah.
Shut up. You don't. If you show your kids on the internet, you have zero boundaries. F off.
There's
Or
nothing-
I started questioning. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I started questioning like, you know, I'd compliment her on the vlog a lot, and then it's like, well, am I doing that, you know, just to show the world that I compliment
Yeah.
my
Yeah, probably.
wife, or should I tell her more that I think she's wonderfully beautiful?
And what an honest thing to like talk about, you know, because the more success you have with the format or the things that are happening in the channel, you do have to stop and be like, okay, is that what I would naturally do? Or
Yeah.
like, do we want to do this adventure because it's like really speaking to our hearts? Or do we think the thumbnail would be good? You know, it's just like this blurriness for
No, and you choose the other. You choose the one that's going to make you more money. I hate these people sitting here and wax about like, well, do we do this or this? Well, you did the other thing. So you're sitting here saying, do we do that? And you're fighting with it, and then it always ends up being on the side that makes you the most money. So why do you even say it? Because that just shows us that your morals are out into the freaking wilderness. You don't give a shit. It's whatever makes you the most cash. Which, just be honest, that's okay. But if you're doing it through exploiting children, that's not okay. Okay? So, like, you're talking about the business side of things, but But if as soon as you include children into that, and this battle between should I show my kids, should I not show my kids, what's the battle, and then you choose the side that's more dangerous. You just having the question right off the top means that you see that there's a problem, right? You see right there, okay, showing my kids is dangerous this way, right? I've got parasocial relationships that people are bonding with my children that they have no idea about. I'm making them famous. Do they want to go to school and say your parents are a bunch of Canadian ass hippies who drink freaking tea roots and like shit in the woods, right? And talk about I love tits on the internet, right? All these things, making them famous, show everything that their personal lives so that predators have more access to them. You know that there's a problem with it. And yet you have this battle and you ask the question, and then we see on the other side that you chose the evil side every single time. And you might be like, well, I haven't shown you everything. There's stuff that I can't off the camera. You think that makes you better? You think that that's your moral? No, you've told us you're battling with this question. And then when we see the outcome of your decision, we see that you erred on the side of evil every single time. That's all we need to know.
Anyway, so I'm just learning from you.
Yeah, I think you should take this one. Because I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're good. I thought that was incredibly vulnerable of you to share, like, oh, my complimenting my wife right now just because I know it'll make a good bit, or because I genuinely mean it. And I think
they do that. That's what they're saying out loud.
It's important to always like reevaluate everything you're doing as a creator, because the lines can be so blurry. And I think like, I don't know, it's opened my eyes to how people can slip into, I don't know, like someone that ends up, I don't know, making a poor decision. Like, I don't think most people don't just like think about that or intend to do that. I think it's like it happens gradually over time. And so kind of like
a Logan Paul type situation. I can see how he would just get carried away at that young age just to get the content. I can see that. I can see myself being that naive, right?
You are that naive right now. They're back, I think, Eamon. I think you are that right now. I think that maybe they'll wake up someday and realize that exploiting children is wrong, hopefully. But it'll be way too damn late at this point.
Exactly. And I think like
I'll ask them the same thing I ask every other question. And Matt and Abby are a good example of this, right? If you stop exploiting your kids, which they sort of did, but not really, they still put their kids and talk about their kids like 24 hours a day. But yeah, for the most part, I would commend Matt and Abby for the choice that they made to take their kids off camera and not make it about their kids. I would. And so Eamon and Beck, I have the same question for you. If you took your children off and completely just said, hey, our kids are off limits, and they should be, would your content survive? Probably. So why not do it? Right? Matt and Abby are a good example of making that choice, and they survive. Their content survived, even though they don't do the family stuff anymore. They do more podcast stuff, and he wants to pursue music. You got to commend them for at least trying, right? Matt and Abby aren't the worst out there, but they are an example of narcissistic D-bags, too, that make really bad parenting decisions and still influence people in their parenting decisions. Even though they might not show the kid's face, doing a video about like, hey, we left our kids in our cabin on the cruise so we can go to dinner. Here's a mom hack for you. There's still parenting hacks out there that they're hacks. Literally, they're hacks. They are hacks. And they're still showing that shit.
I noticed you brought up like kids on social media because we wanted to be so careful with that. A couple months after our son was born, we just decided to stop showing his face.
Was there something that happened that made you want to stop?
No, actually, when we had our son, we were aware of the fact that
I feel like they know, like, are our friends. Mm-hmm. And that's actually a great thing. Like,
no, it's not a great thing. So why did she say people know that they think that they're friends? But that's a good thing. Why did you say it's a good thing right after that? Sounds like a negative thing to me. That's called a parasocial relationship, and you know that. When
I meet people that have really like been with us for several years or watched our things, I'm like, we probably would get along really well if you've seen that. Like, I'm confident that they have seen a very accurate representation of who I am. Now, it's a small portion of who I am, but I feel like that's accurate. So if they like me online, then we'd probably get along well in person.
So then that means that the people who hate you online, they have an accurate representation of who you are then, right? No? It's only if they like you do they have the accurate representation, right? Okay, what about the thousands and thousands of haters that you have? They don't have an accurate representation of who you are? That seems really weird that you'd say that.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't want that same relationship for my kids with people.
I'm so sorry.
But it's a good thing you just said. But why wouldn't you want it for your kids then if it's a good thing? See? Stop talking.
I totally just interrupted you. And
you're going to say it better than me.
No, all I was going to say is I heard about a family blogger channel where a mom like basically shared all the inner details of her daughter's like going through a period and like bra shopping and all these things.
That's the wife's life.
Kind of like the Logan Paul thing. I don't think this mom had some super evil intent. I think she just got so used to being so vulnerable and so real online that she did.
Can we stop calling it vulnerable and real to exploit your children? Can we stop that, please? I think she got so wrapped up in being vulnerable. Showing your daughter bra size and periods and the shaven legs, that's not vulnerable. I mean, yeah, it's vulnerable for your kid, not for you. You're sharing vulnerable moments with the internet. It's not your place to do it, but it's not the mom being vulnerable. It's the child being vulnerable without their consent. So, like, let's be real about that first.
This, not realizing how that can negatively impact your daughter's life. I never want to, like, share some super intimate, like, thing about my child's life, like, as far as, yeah, they're like them going through puberty, and you hear about kids, like, if they're in middle school and they're in a bunch of family blogs, like, sometimes that can lead to kids getting bullied in school.
Yep.
And so we were just like, okay, before we understand what the heck's going on here, like, let's just make a very aggressive decision to just stop showing their faces.
It's an easy boundary, right?
Yes.
Like, it's not about their face, really. It's more so it's just like a really easy black and white boundary, because we're both making content, so that we can just like, oh, well, that's how we're doing it. And then obviously there's like internal boundaries, like we're not going to talk about medical things, or we're not gonna, things like that. But that's just an easy, like, overprotective, like, for a deeper reason.
But then why platform people who do that? Like, you have a very strong stance on, hey, we're not going to show this, we're not going to show that, bras, periods, and puberty, and all these vulnerable moments, but then you platform people who do it unapologetically. That means that you're okay with it.
It was less about, like, I don't know, people already know who we are, so if they see our kids with us, we're like, oh, that's Matt and Abby's kid, right? Like, it's less about people knowing what our kids look like.
You don't have to put a mask on.
And it's more about making sure that our audience knows that they're following
for us and not them.
I don't want, yeah, like that, exactly. I think that's the best way to put it.
I love that. And I feel like you also consciously or subconsciously made the decision before it gets to Logan Paul in the forest. Like, before we don't even know where the boundary...
If you're wondering why they're talking about Logan Paul in the forest, it's because he went to a Japanese forest, and it's a forest famous for people going to commit suicide, and he found a dude, allegedly, that I think they was just hanging there, and he filmed it all. And he got, like, ratioed, and still to this day, he's never going to be able to let it down. His kids are never going to be able to let down his history online. And Logan Paul's actually just one of the biggest douches on the internet. Him and his brother. Just that whole group of people are just a bunch of douchebags. But they make money being douchebags. It's like their thing. They love that they are that. They are the douchebags of the world, and they're like, they're okay with it. That's what they're talking about. Like, making bad decisions online, like leaving your children in the cabin on the cruise ship.
Of sharing about them and or the bra shopping happens, let's just make that decision now so that it's almost like easier in a way. It's like clear, they're not the content.
Yeah.
I love it.
Their decisions affect them.
Yes.
And that's a high responsibility that we take very seriously.
She's right about this. This is the thing I respect about Matt and Abby. One of the things, probably the only thing I respect about them, is that they have that honest take about it. They're like, this is a really important boundary to do that. But again, don't platform people who do it unapologetically then. Just don't.
So I don't know if the not showing their face, I don't know if that'll be a forever thing, but I'm definitely glad we made the decision when we did. And I want to always
better be a forever thing.
Be super protective of them online, because they
don't say in one phrase, we don't know if it's going to be forever that we're going to keep them off, but we definitely want to protect them. You can't, that's incompatible.
Are, like, other than Abby, they're the people that I care about most in this world.
It's so beautiful. I want to talk about being so open and vulnerable online and the negativity that sometimes comes with...
This is when it comes to negative comments. Oh, here we go.
Sharing our lives. I feel like when it's our business and something negative happens, we get a bad review, it's so much easier to be like, okay, that's our business. Like, I still care deeply and I want to fix it and do right by that customer. But you can't meet every negative comment with, like, how do I do right by this person? Especially because there's millions, and because it's attacking, like, you as a human being. Like, just your absolute essence of who you are. Sometimes people feel that they have the right, because you share, to comment on. How do you guys navigate negativity? How do you navigate your mental health as creators who are so open and honest online?
To be totally honest with you, it's really hard. And I think it's something that hasn't gotten easier. And you would think by now...
It should get easier, though, as a creator. Like, I get lots of hate. It gets way easier if you just realize that if you're not sure of yourself and what you're doing. It should be easier. Like, hey, I know what I'm doing on here. I know ultimately people like, oh, you're re-exploiting and you're like, I've had every argument with every person so far, and I've come out on the other side and being like, I know what I'm doing here. And that's not my only thing I do here, but it's one of the major things I do, okay, which is bully child exploiters, right? And I'm okay with it. Like, some people have had some great things to say and some really tough things that I've had to apologize for a couple of things I've done and taken advantage of situations. And I've always on the other side been like, I shouldn't have done that. I have not Logan Paul moments, but I've had moments where I'm like, shit, that was shitty, right? I have the wherewithal to see that. But in the end, like, it should get easier, because there's only 5 certain arguments that you have against me. And I did a video on it the other day, like the other week, about here's what they have to say and here's my rebuttal to them all. And there's just That's it. I have to be okay with that. People don't like me because I'm mean or I make fun of looks and stuff. That's just the way it is. But I unapologetically will sit here and tell you I will bully people who exploit children and they deserve it. Okay? Abby's like, it's getting worse, and it's then if you can't, after like 2 or 3 years of doing this, if it's getting worse for you, it's only going to get way worse for you. Because you're going to continue to make shitty decisions that you post online, and you're going to get hated and ratioed every single time. You need, for your own mental health, probably to get off the internet. And I think if Abby could, she would. If she didn't like this massive luxury lifestyle that they're living, she wouldn't be on the internet. But she has weighed it, she has scaled it, and she has said the money matters more than my mental health, and that's her decision to make.
Oh, like maybe you could look from the outside and be like, oh, they don't care anymore. They're kind of they've reached a certain follower count that like they don't have it doesn't affect them, or like no, it does, and that's why like I think that we've had to like we've set boundaries for our children, we set boundaries for ourselves, and like for us that means like deleting apps off of our phone altogether, and that means like having time restrictions, and there's a lot of back end things to like mitigate that.
It's funny because a conversation I had with Abby the other day, I was like, you know what, Abby, like I genuinely do care about what people think about me. Like I try to pretend like. Again,
another reason I like Matt and Abby. I'm not saying I like them completely, but there's another reason I like them, is that they're like, how many influencers have you heard say that? I genuinely care what people think about me. Because that's honest. We all do. I care what people think about me. Everybody needs to be genuinely honest, but most people, I'm so unbothered. You're not unbothered. Especially if you're making videos about being unbothered. You're not. But like these people could have had such a great platform. Should have done great things because they're actually smart. And they are aware. They're not, well, they're aware of some things. They're not aware of their privilege sometimes, all the videos they're making, how they don't get out very often, and yet they go on like 25 vacations. So they're aware of certain things. That is one of them. Like, I like that they're honest about these things that most influencers would never be honest about.
Oh yeah, what other people think about me doesn't matter, and if I'm misunderstood by people, it's okay. Like I know who I am, and I'm like, I freaking do care what people think. Like, and I hate that. Like I can tell myself I don't, but it doesn't change it, and so it is hard. And I think the most important thing though is to like know your purpose outside of your work. Because if that's your whole identity tied up in one thing, that's a very dangerous place to be. And so kind of like I said earlier, just spending the morning with my kids, putting them down for their naps, like reading them books, like those, like in those moments after, like I just like tell myself, I'm like, this is what it's all about. And I think just remembering that those relationships are so essential to having a full, good, genuine life, like that helps you through those times where you do get defeated because maybe you're misunderstood online.
And I think that, like Matt said, we've been talking a lot, especially in like the midst of like some of the worst of it. Like we talk a lot about identity, like with each other, like where does our identity truly lie? Because if our identity was fully in our social media persona, like how people view that, while it is us, like everyone knows it's just a fraction of us. And it's also a curated version of us. Like we both approve what goes up, and if one of us disapproves it doesn't go up. And
so you both approve leaving your children alone and doing a parenting hack? Cool.
So, all that to say, separating while still being authentic. It's always a juggling act, right?
You're not. Nobody who films their life she just told you it's curated. So it's not, so there you go. Don't say the word authentic next after saying it's curated. We're very careful what we show you. It's curated, meaning that they pick the best things. That's not authentic. Okay, sorry.
Separating our personal identity from that has been the healthiest thing. Like, and I think that because whatever they're saying, it's like, I know who I am. My people know who I am. And like, there's just a confidence that comes, I think, too, like being a parent and also just getting older, like more mature. You're like, it's harder to shake who you are as a person. So there is like a sense of...
What? It's like she's trying to do a book report and she's running out of freaking characters.
Stability too amidst all that. Whereas I'm like, if my kid was a teenager and posting online right now, that would be very scary. I would feel very nervous about, like, hesitant in that area.
And you don't know how big of a mind F it is until it happens to you.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be like, why can't you just like not read the comments or like, delete the app off your phone, or I don't know, like, why okay, get rid of your phone, like what, like it's so easy from the outside looking in, because I've been guilty of it too. I was like, why do these people like
and I think those assholes who are writing those comments, they have no idea how hurtful it is, right?
No. I hope you know how hurtful I'm trying to be. And Eamon, like, you know, he's unapologetically an asshole, right? He's like, you know what? I love tits and I hate assholes that leave negative comments. Like, this guy is sure in himself, right? But no, the people who leave hateful comments are trying to hurt you, right? And depending on what the hateful comment is it deserved or not is the actual question. Like, leaving your children unattended on a cruise ship, those comments aren't hateful. A lot of those are probably be like, are you sure you should have done this? It's not like, I hate you for doing this. It's like, hey, why are you being negligent parent? And he would call those people assholes. And that's the difference, right? Now, there are people out there who leave comments about children and they're like, make fun of, they'll do everything. I admittedly am an asshole to these people. Like, I'm trying to be. Like, it's my goal in life to bully child exploiters. But that's what he's talking about, unapologetically. But like, they only put it in two categories. Either you love us or you're a hater, the end. Anybody who leaves like a comment that is neither here nor there, they'll just place them in the asshole comment. If it's not kissing their ass, then they're definitely assholes. And there are probably thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people who follow them who are like, hey, maybe you should reevaluate this thing you've done. And they'll consider them assholes. And that's how, you know, that's just how it is.
Like, they would never say that to your face.
And here's the thing. I would say it to your face. I would love to debate these people right to your damn faces about what you do. And I know maybe he's not talking about me, but I'm one of the biggest haters of family vloggers in the internet. Give me the badge, give me the trophy. I unapologetically wear that. Okay? Family vloggers know who I am. I am their Voldemort. Okay? And that's good. I don't mind that. Okay? And I would say it to your face. Now, I wouldn't seek you out to do it, but if we happen to be in the same place and you approached me, I absolutely would say it to your face. I'm not trying to get in your space in a private area. I'm not trying to go real life. But if it ever came down to the point where you're like, say that to my face and you wanted me to, I'm going to say it to your face. Okay? I know what I stand on here. I know that what I'm saying here is correct. I know that what you're doing is wrong. And I would love to have an open debate. And anytime I've ever had one when I've gotten lucky enough to, I've absolutely dismantled and destroyed them. Remember that guy, Roland Pollard or whatever his name was? He didn't know who I was. He invited me on his Instagram live to have a debate about child exploitation. And I literally undressed him. And then he told me that his manager knew who I was and couldn't believe that he put me on his platform. Go watch that video. I destroyed him. He didn't even ever hear about any of these arguments ever before. So I would love to say it to your face, given the opportunity.
But it's so easy to just type behind their screen because they're in pain. Those people are suffering from something.
Here's the
and
other
they're
Hurt people, taking
it out on you mainly because of jealousy. And we talked about this a little bit. I know you know the science a little bit better, so correct me if I'm wrong. But
again, and he's just doing the same thing. He's just like, oh, they're jealous. I'm not jealous. I make just as much as money as half of you guys. Okay, I have a very, very good life. I make good money on YouTube. Okay, and they know it. They know how much money. They look at my views. They see what I make. So I'm not doing this out of jealousy. Like, I am very successful doing what I do. I'm very happy with what I make here. Very, very good. And a lot of people will say, you're just jealous. I'm not jealous. I promise you I'm not. I make a very good living on here. Okay, I'm very comfortable. But they'll just do that. There is a part where people are jealous of this. That's because you're putting in something that it's hard to compare, because it's like you're completely out of touch with the rest of the world. You guys make content sharing your life brushing your teeth in a van and you make millions of dollars doing it, where people are like going to be jealous because how the hell? That's what there's, and I get that.
When you read a really harsh negative comment, you get this hit of cortisol, and it's such a high peak in your head, a high hit.
Almost like a fight or flight. So you enter a very stressed state.
And then anything else, you could read 10,000 lovey comments.
Well, they're not going to like the video I do about them. Cortisol incoming.
Wife could kiss you, your kids could put you to bed, say you're the best dad ever. You're still up there. Nothing's even going in because you're still at that, negative.
This guy's got great hair. I will give him that. That's some thick ass hair.
Comment. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what the solution is, but I think personally, like, YouTube needs to be involved. They need to be.
Oh, when it gets like out of.
Uh-oh. I think YouTube should make sure that people can't leave negative comments. YouTube, fix it. Are you serious, buddy? This guy wants to be online, sharing his kids and his family and his life, but doesn't want any of the negative comments, just the good shit. Really? That's your battle? That's the hill you're gonna die on?
Yeah, like, if people are making videos about other people, I think, we've lost our friend to this, right? She took her own life, and there was a big element of that. Some.
If you are, look, and a lot of people have said this about me, oh, what if happens, you make fun of someone, and if you exploit children, I don't care. I'm sorry. If you're like, oh, Josh, maybe someone will commit suicide because you made fun of them. Get off the internet. If you don't have a thick enough skin to be on the internet, don't be on the internet. Man, the things that people have said about me are insane. Things that people have messaged my wife. Okay? She's not even on the internet. Okay? That gets me mad, obviously. But I have a thick enough skin that I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I can ignore it. I can laugh about it. And again, over time, it's just gotten easier because I'm like, oh, I don't care. It's hilarious. Right? But if you don't have a thick enough skin to be on the internet and be a personality on the internet, you don't belong here. Get off. That's your first sign. Go get therapy and get off the internet.
Dude behind his screen was making videos very intentionally to hurt her and building a community around that.
And she had even communicated with him, like, this is really affecting my mental health. Will you please stop? And then he used that in a video being like, look at her, like, what a little victim. She can't handle it. So it's exactly what you're saying of like, until you're the person receiving it, as one human being, we were saying, we did not evolve as a species to have more than our inner community, even know a fraction of what we are all sharing online, and how beautiful and vulnerable and special like it is that we have this community who does know us, right? It's the same for us. People come up and they're like, oh, this, that, and I'm like, you do know me. You totally know me, but you don't.
But please don't approach me in public. Pleb.
You don't know everything, and you also don't have the right, I feel, to just completely create content, or not the right, I don't know what it is, but like to create a channel based on hate is
Excuse me? Excuse me? I'm going to clutch my pearls here. We don't have the right to make content about child exploiters? Eamon and Beck, you're going to hate me. You don't have the right? You're telling me I don't have the right to dismantle the public shit that you put out there? Are you seriously saying that right now? Man, I can't wait to make fun of these people online.
a negative way to move through the world. I just think it's just so wrong.
I hate to hear that was an element with your friend. That makes, and I've never felt that way, but I can totally see where it goes that direction.
Totally.
Then get off the internet. If I got to a point where hate comments were making me like question if I want to be here anymore, I'm getting off the internet. Okay, if you don't have friends enough that tell you, hey, maybe you should just get off the internet, then you don't have good friends. Like, is it affecting you that much that but you want to continue it? Look, I could understand if you weren't doing anything wrong, right? If you're just being an innocent creator, just making crafts on the internet and somebody's coming at, that's completely different. But if you're doing something wrong, like child abuse, then you should be called out for it. These people are trying to do is justify, like, they're trying to like make someone like what I do, make me feel guilty for what I do. These people aren't innocent that I'm coming after. None of them are innocent. I don't come after innocent people. Okay, you're not innocent when you exploit children. And Eamon and Beck, they know I'm coming after them. And so this podcast is basically I know they know who I am, obviously. Okay, but they're trying to be like, well, don't come after us because no. You guys, even more so now, I want to come after. The audacity of you to be like, how dare you make content? Like, YouTube shouldn't even allow it. You put it out there, man. You make millions of dollars doing this. And that's it? Think you're like immune from dissemination? Just because what? Because you think you're a good person? I promise you they exploit children. You're not a good person.
And, there's a part of me that gets so angry about people that make content about hate. But there's also just like so much fear in that. Like, that's the main emotion I feel with like all the online hate is fear. And
get off the internet then. You're not strong enough.
I don't know why I'm crying. Because
you're a big baby, that's why.
It is recent too. So
go just look at your bank account. Maybe it'll make you feel better.
It's like, I feel like we're just like still operating every once in a while.
Imagine this is your problem though. There's people who online hate you. And then you open your bank account and it's like literally 8 figures. You're balancing something. You're making a choice here to do what you got to do. All you have to do to stop all of that, to stop these emotions, is to stop making shitty content. You make a choice. The internet is here. You have, would she say 12 million subscribers over all their platforms, and you don't think you're going to get some hate out of 12 million people? There's people close to you that probably don't even like you.
Subliminally, like, on that level where it doesn't, like, crash down, but I don't want to, like, look like a victim of anything.
Yeah, she keeps saying that. And that's what I initially had respect for her about. It's like, I don't want to be a victim. Yeah, you are. It's too late. Get off the internet if you don't like it.
But
you don't.
It is really hard. It is really hard. And even as an adult, even as a mom, even as someone that, like, I'm a very confident person. Like,
clearly.
That's how I identify as. And it's still
identify as confident.
so hard. So that's why I'm like, we have a terrible online culture, I will say.
Yeah. That's your husband making shitty, weird stuff, though. That's not, I don't think Abby is the one that gets to hate the most. She gets hate on behalf of her husband a lot. Because Matt's writing songs about like how he wishes his wife was the one he met before. And like, he's like, they make shitty stuff. I mean, Matt's the one that gets most of the hate. Abby doesn't get most of the hate. Matt does. But it affects her.
Like, in general, there's a lot of good elements, but I would say we keep slipping to more and more dark online, and that's pushing me away. Like, I'm like, I don't
Good. Get off the internet.
I don't want to be a part of that. Like, I don't want to be a part of
Then go.
the darkness. And so that's why I would never respond, never retaliate, never do anything. But then sometimes there's that sassy part of me that's like, I'm not gonna sit here and take another punch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But then you do.
Because I'm a fighter too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
I love
sassy.
it.
Clearly.
And it's
You just cried on the internet for hate comments.
disappointing too, because it's all for views. Like, you look at the gossip channels online, the gossip accounts, and you'll see like they'll have another channel where they make like lifestyle vlogs or whatever,
It doesn't
and they
perform.
get like 1% of the viewership they get on that gossip stuff. So they're monetizing this content of hate and negativity, but they're getting a high, they're getting a hit from the viewership that people want to watch the video of them gossiping about somebody or hating on
And it wouldn't exist without you people. So, okay. What are you trying to say? Stupid.
someone, making fun of them, right? And it's
And
so
it's the
messed
same
up.
thing with this guy, right? He had a van life channel, and his van life videos didn't do anything.
Really?
But he made these hate videos. And they
Oh
all
wow,
got
that
views.
sounds so familiar. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was
I wonder who that is.
a lot at play, and I don't want to, really dwell on her story.
Like, Eamon wants to call this van life guy out or whatever who caused someone to commit suicide or whatever, that's a bullshit, lame excuse. It's not true. Like, again, if you can't take criticism, if you are literally a person who's like, I can't take criticism, the internet is not where you should be, especially posting vulnerable moments of your life. You do not belong here. Okay? If you've done something wrong or people don't like your stuff or for whatever reason, you can't be like, let's stamp. No. Then stop what you're doing. If Eamon and Beck, and I'll say this about anybody else, if you stop exploiting your children, then I have nothing to go for you. And people are like, oh, Kira stopped exploiting. No, she didn't, guys. No, she didn't. Clearly, you're unaware. But if someone truly did say, Josh, I'm with you on this one, we are making this choice to do this, then I'm doing it. Like, people would argue that Matt and Abby don't exploit their children anymore, but I still think they do, and they make shitty decisions about. And again, they have a massive platform where they platform child exploiters. It's just the same.
For the negative parts of it, but definitely it was very impactful. And of course it is, I definitely don't want to dwell on it in your situation either, but I wondered if you wanted to expand on the fear you're feeling. Like, what is it that you feel afraid of?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I actually signed up for therapy, personal therapy, which I've never actually had.
Everybody should be in therapy, though, by the way. Therapy is a good thing. They say, like, oh, I've gotten so much hate that I've had to sign up for therapy. You should be in therapy anyway. Therapy's great.
And I was like, maybe I need someone to like help me understand why I'm so afraid of this. And because I think it honestly is just the scale. Like, the scale feels like shocking.
Yeah.
Because I have developed a thicker skin. In general, I've always like people's words haven't hurt me as much as like I would say the majority of people. Who knows? Everything's relative, but like I think it was just the scale of it is so like it makes my throat feel like someone's like squeezing my neck. Like it.
Because the scale, what she's talking about is there's been some major things that they have done that people have been pissed about. But the cruise thing is the newest one, and it's crazy. And they deserved every bit of hate they got for that. And then they lied to people saying, no, there was somebody in the room. Just how they dealt with it was wrong.
It's scary.
Didn't you say that one of your TikTok has 500 million views?
One of our YouTube shorts.
500 million?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
I'll be
fathom
honest.
that.
I have no idea how that happened.
Okay,
It's not-
US is only 330.
Yeah,
So basically everyone in the States has seen that TikTok.
No, that's stupid.
which is
The scale
bonkers.
is massive.
It's-
The scale
so
is
valid
terrible.
what you're feeling.
Yeah, I don't want things to go viral. Like I
Yes, you do. You're such a liar.
don't want that.
What a liar.
That scale is terrifying. Like
You're a liar.
I don't know. Like,
That's how you make your millions of dollars.
What keeps you guys continuing to create?
Yeah,
like, has
good
there
question.
been that moment where you're just like, I'm done? Like,
Yeah.
I can't keep showing up?
it's tempting,
Yeah.
but
But money.
I think that what ultimately brings me back down is like, first of all,
Money.
I can make what I have healthier for me, and I'm in control of that. I'm in control of what I consume and what I don't consume, and also like it is giving me the lifestyle that I couldn't even dream of. Like
There. She's being honest.
I wanted to be a teacher because then I could have the summers off with my kids. And I'm like, what in the world is this right now? Where I get to literally choose anything I want. I can completely clear my schedule and be like, we're on a splash pad. Like, I can do whatever. I can homeschool my children. And like, that was
Please don't, though.
never going to be an option. I was going to have to drop my kids off at daycare every day while I worked. And that was something that I was like sad about, but I had accepted because my mom had to do that. And both my moms, like both my grandmas had to do that. But like this lifestyle where I get to be with my husband and my kids all day, right? That's ultimately
freedom.
what makes it.
At least she's being honest. Hey, look, we make enough money that I don't have to go to work. Their honesty in this is quite refreshing.
Perfect. And so I'm not ready to be like, well, I'll get a regular job at this point. I'm not ready for that, but it might come down the line. Who knows?
It's not gonna come.
Keep talking about. I was like, this is my first career. Who knows? I might work at a library.
Do you like
next.
sandwiches?
I love sandwiches.
Yeah, we could start a sandwich shop.
Eamon is
Okay.
always saying if everything fails, he's just gonna move to Mexico or somewhere, bring the fam, and
We don't
sell
sell-
sandwiches.
I'd do a sandwich truck. Good sandwiches, you can't beat a good Sammy. He's right. Eamon's right about that. A good ass Sammy, you can't beat it. That's universally accepted as like delicious food. I'd start a Sammy truck, but it'd be good.
Start a sandwich shop.
I was gonna say.
We can do some vegan deli meats. There's some good stuff
No, that's gross.
going on.
Cool sandwiches.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I always thought about a
Vegan deli meat, get wrecked.
coffee shop though.
Yeah.
But maybe tea shop.
Please don't, because Eamon wants a cafe so badly.
It's coming.
I think everyone wants their own little
It's not coming enough. You live in Toronto.
coffee
Are you
shop.
guys against, like, you guys against coffee because you're such big tea people?
No, we like coffee. We kicked our coffee habit,
Yeah, we were addicted.
so we won't like start our day with coffee. But you know, if we
Doesn't tea have more caffeine than coffee?
go to a cafe and have like a nice little, you know, it's nice.
Do you like your
Hookah?
your coffee like plain black?
Black, yeah.
Ooh, okay. That's
I like
cool.
we live in Australia and we managed a coffee shop there, so I developed like a really nice
Wow.
appreciation for good coffee.
So I'm always putting like creamer.
I'm so tacky compared to you guys.
No, you're not. I just wanted to pause and just say how much I admire the two of you. Honestly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, what you have built for yourselves, for your family,
Did someone fart in this room? Because I'm sniffing it.
and then the way you've navigated all of this is so wise beyond your years. I have not had to deal with half of what you have, and I would have walked away 1,000%. And the fact
Well, let's hope you walk away from child exploitation as I start covering your shit.
that you're so grounded in your relationship, in your purpose behind it, in what it allows you to do, and that you have gratitude for all of that is just beautiful.
And that you're
Full stop.
authentically, like you said, you are who you are online.
Okay, they just blowing smoke ass. Okay.
Oh
For
my goodness.
podcasting.
That's
Like
such a-
on camera advice or off?
But
I think
feel
be
like-
careful with your shorts.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I think
Don't leave your children unattended on a cruise ship. That's what I'd say.
that's something that I didn't realize is like you want to be very careful with like podcast clips because you know people will see something completely out of context and might make an assumption on it.
And they're
So
probably
I-
not going to watch the whole episode.
Yeah, and so I kind of assumed that
It's good advice, actually.
anybody watching the shorts would end up coming to watch the podcast, and that's actually just not the case. And I'm guilty of it too. Like I'll read a news headline and make an assumption.
That's all you
on
need to know.
Something that happened based off of the
That's what a lot of people do, though. That's the danger of mainstream media.
headline and not actually read the whole story. So I'd say be careful with that because you want.
All right, that's stupid. Being depressed in Hawaii. I gotta hear this. How could you be depressed in Hawaii? Are you serious? 126.
It was the hardest year of my life, but it was also the most growth that I ever had. And so I think moving was probably the best thing that we did. But I don't know, it's hard when you are in the same physical space to like change mentally maybe in a way. There's some correlation there.
For sure.
Not that it can't happen, but
So in Hawaii, what was it that were you feeling low? Like what was happening in Hawaii that made it so difficult?
I honestly think I was depressed in Hawaii, but I didn't get any help. Because I didn't know. I didn't
You're in Hawaii. Let's go to the beach.
know what
I've heard Hawaii's amazing. I should take wifey there, eh?
I was feeling, but I was just like feeling like it's very unlike me to not want to leave the house, but I didn't.
Okay, I don't care about that. All right, there you go. I think I covered all the interesting topics about that part. There you go. So, Eamon and Beck, welcome to the show. Yo, Eamon, you're not going to like what I have to say about you until you watch your content. Because you guys are Canadian child exploiters. I've never yet covered one. A lot of people think I'm scared to cover Canadian family vloggers because they think they could sue me. I mean, you could try and go for it, but let's go. But I'm definitely going to be covering them because they have a lot of, like, their comments made about people who, like, leave negative comments are just assholes. Look, I am an asshole, and I'll admit it, but there are people who are not. And if you've done something stupid, like leave your children on a cruise alone in their room while you go to eat dinner, and you don't want the negative comments, and he's like, oh, I think YouTube should step in and not leave negative. Like, are you serious right now? Are you out of your day? You live in Canada, bro. Like, we have freedom here. Look at the jammies on my dock. We live in Canada. Get rid of the bed because it stinks, so we're getting a new one. Anyway, welcome to the show, Eamon and Beck. I'm definitely going to be tearing your shit to shreds. And come up to Ottawa. We'll have a podcast together. Maybe you'll debate me about the exploitation of children online. I'd love to hear. You guys seem pretty smart. They're Canadian. They're educated in Canada. They're probably pretty smart. So I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Shall we? Okay. Everybody, take a deep breath. Canadian hippies. They're another breed, that's for sure. When I see Eamon and Beck, I think hairy armpits. That's what I think. Anyway, your armpits are nice though, so don't forget it. You guys are amazing, incredible, and valuable. Don't you forget it. Thanks for being here for the snark and the fun, the good times, the great conversations. That's what we do here. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you when I see you.